Hello, this is Faris.
And this is Caleb, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Homecare Guyz.
Yes.
Faris, how are you doing today, brother?
Man, I am doing well, man. I got my cool socks on today. For those in podcast land, you know you can't see them, but for those that are tuning in on YouTube or Facebook, I know you're seeing my nice socks today. I'm very comfortable today, man.
Yeah, you look comfortable.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. We have something planned actually today, which I'm super excited about. That's when all of our team is coming, and we're setting up a Thanksgiving dinner per se in our event space. Yeah. And we get to see all of our faces and all of our administrative staff from different offices. So they came from near and far right here in Millersville. So I'm super excited about that.
Man, that's awesome. Anytime we get a chance to see the whole team, because of course due to COVID-19 and just due to just geographical location, we're unable to see everybody. Right. But anytime to come be able to fellowship and just break bread, it's just an amazing experience. But I see some of our team members, they have new babies and new growth on the team. Some people just got married. It's beautiful, man.
And even some of our new people that came on, that became new team members, you know, especially we have a few gap care coordinators and a few new health coaches and some office staff. So I'm excited. I'm excited just to get everybody together, have some fun, get everybody together, have some fun, and eat some great food.
Oh yeah, man. Well, man, I'm excited about today's conversation that we're going to be talking about, man, because this is a conversation that will take you down the nostalgic lane. It'll take you down memory lane. And this conversation we're going to be talking about is what are some takeaways that we had that we took away from our high school job experience, man.
Ooh,
this is going
high school job.
This is going to be exciting because I know many times like people have multiple jobs in high school, but sometimes just that one job will give you an experience, good or bad, that can go through and change the trajectory of your life. And man, I'm super excited about kind of hearing about your job, and I know the job you're talking about. I'm super excited about hearing about your job and your experiences that you gained from it and things that you learned from it as well, man.
Well, I was excited. You know, being a high schooler, once you leave middle school, you're ready to get into high school so you can get your first job. Yeah. And so I was excited about it. I remember I was so nervous in my interview. My sisters work at this job that I'm getting ready to talk about. I worked at Mcdonald's on the north side. Yes. And so my sisters worked there, Jessica and Farah. And so they were like, Caleb, we're hiring. Joshua, you're hiring. So I want you all to do an interview. You know, they already spoke to the manager. And luckily my sisters were great employees. And so we pretty much kind of passed through the interview process. That's a great nugget. But I was excited because I wanted to buy my own clothes. I wanted to get some spending money in high school. You know, I definitely wanted to buy the best sneakers. And so I was just excited about getting my first job. So my first job was at McDonald's. Faris, what was your first job?
Man, my first job was at Chick-Fil-A. Not my first job. My most memorable high school job was at Chick-Fil-A. My first job throughout high school, I worked at a car wash. I worked at Quincy Steakhouse. But one of the most memorable, man, they had some great yeast rolls, brother. Oh my gosh.
They used to be the Sunday spot in Millersville back in the day when I was real young.
Yeah, I'm all 6 foot to go up there and get that little tray.
All you can eat at Quincy.
All you can eat buffet. Oh my gosh, that was really good. I had a good work experience there, but like I said, one of my most memorable experiences was actually working at Chick-fil-A, and it was an amazing experience, bro. Amazing experience, man.
Well, do you want to talk about what you have learned at Chick-fil-A? Maybe we can start off with you, and then we'll go with my experience at McDonald's.
Most definitely, man. I'll start it off, man. Just like you said, like I think that working for such a dynamic organization, and still to this day, I love the Chick-fil-A restaurant. I love the food, the customer service. Just a lot of things that I really love about it, and a lot of things that we'll discuss later that we brought from that organization onto our organization, Prime Care Home Care Services. Right. But one thing that really stood out to me, even while I was in high school, was their customer service. I realized that the expectations of customer service was actually met there. You can go to different restaurants and you may have customer service, a great customer service experience. You may not, but at Chick-fil-A it was more consistent. And one thing I saw about that, one thing I learned being on the back end of Chick-fil-A was that was intentional. Customer service was intentional. We intentionally said my pleasure after every transaction. We intentionally respect each other while we were at work. We intentionally addressed our seniors or the ladies as yes ma'am, the gentlemen as no yes sir. We intentionally did that, and that was the expectation that was actually given to us at Chick-fil-A. It wasn't a lot of like forced upon it. I think due to the selection process that Chick-fil-A has, they have an eye for the individuals that will represent their brand the best. And that's how I believe that I became a part of the Chick-fil-A team as well. So their customer service is one thing that I really learned from. Another thing that I actually learned and I encountered there was how they genuinely took care of their team, Caleb. It's so important. It was so important back then as a high schooler to feel a part of a team, because I didn't join the basketball team or the tennis team or the soccer team or the football team. I joined Team Chick-fil-A. Right. And I felt a part of a team. I felt a part of a winning team at that. And so how we won was by giving dynamic customer service, by actually going through and meeting the expectations of the owner operator. And some of the things were definitely being timely, coming to work, definitely respecting each other, of course, keeping a clean environment, being able to learn other parts of the business as well. And that's one thing I learned about being a part of the team. And the beautiful part about it, as I advanced through the organization, started off as a gentleman that actually prepared the chicken, but eventually I became a team leader. I was able to bring some of my good friends. Shout out to Mark Robertson. I was able to bring some of my good friends on board to our Chick-fil-A family as well. And it was just a really good environment to go through and create a team. And another thing that we did that I learned was the art of being consistent. The art of being consistent.
Tell me about that.
It was so important to go through and get people's orders right.
Okay.
The first time, not when people drive around and I'm missing fries or I'm missing a sandwich or whatever. It was the art of being consistent, the art of double checking, the art of going through and being consistent with our salutations, being consistent with the ingredients, being consistent with the taste. And those are some things that I learned, that consistency is what breeds success. And that's one thing we'll delve deeper a little bit as well. And last but not least, before I turn it back over to you, the other thing that I learned from working with the Chick-fil-A organization was the importance of exposure. From day one, the owner operator, his name is Matt Kirby. He invested in making sure the team was taken care of. He invested in making sure we were trained. He made sure we had books to go through and read. He made sure he put us in uncomfortable situations so that we can grow. Being a young team leader, I was in high school as a team leader. Like that was very uncomfortable, but it allowed me to grow. And also the exposure when we as a team won, being able to go through and actually get a chance to meet the founder of Chick-fil-A, Truett Cathy, before he passed away, Dan and Bubba. That was just exposure that really put me on a trajectory of actually wanting to do something great as well. So those are some of the things that I learned from working with the Chick-fil-A organization, man.
Not too many people would actually meet the founders of Chick-fil-A. So for you to say you met the founders and the president, because, McDonald's is a very, very large organization. And I guess luckily for you, Chick-fil-A was founded in Atlanta, in the area in Hapeville, actually. Yeah. And so you had access, but, McDonald's was just a big international.
And that's my thing. I think that was my first time actually shaking hands with I think he was a billionaire back then, but I know he was a multi-millionaire. Yes. But I'm like, and just the calmness and reserves of it. And it was just so. This guy had the Batman mobile. He owned a Batman mobile.
What?
And it was amazing just to get that exposure. And that actually just kind of exposed me to something greater and just kind of expanded my belief system as well.
Wow.
But man, I'm curious to go through and hear about your McDonald's experience, man, because just like you said, our sisters worked there.
Right.
Your twin brother, Josh, worked there. Our brother worked there and you worked there. I want to hear about your experience and what you took away from it.
So like I said, being excited just to have a job, I think that coming into McDonald's, actually it being my first job, I was a little excited just to have a job, and then pretty much kind of a little nervous as well because I'm meeting new people. But other than that, some things that I learned from McDonald's was teamwork, communication, and time management. And so with teamwork, I can remember my first day on the job. They put me on the grill. I'm like, why would you put me on the grill? I don't even know how to cook pretty much myself, but they put me on the grill with the team, with the helper. And so we had to put the, I think they call them 4-1 patties or 10-1s. It was something. So the little small beef patties and then the bigger beef patties for the quarter pounders. And so they showed me how to do that. And so I worked that a little bit. I worked that probably for a few days or so. And it was great just to kind of know that once you put the once you put them on the grill, they have a certain timer that goes off that you have to just put them in and put them in the trays.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty simple. I was like, okay, I can do this. This is really, really good. And then they wanted me to learn different other roles, because just in case another member did not show up, I was, I learned different roles. And so they taught me how to prepare the sandwich. And back in the day, my favorite sandwich at McDonald's was the Big Mac.
The Big Mac.
It was the Big Mac, the sesame seed bun with the special sauce and lettuce and the little onions. All of that was a great sandwich.
I remember the Big Mac song they had.
Oh my goodness.
2 all beef patties, special sauce, something on the
pickle onions and the sesame seed bun. That's what it was. That's what it was. But the Big Mac was my favorite sandwich. And so they taught me how to prepare it. They had a trainer to teach me how to do that. Each sandwich had to be prepared a certain way. And so that teamwork was a part of it. Now just think about this. Think about if there was only one person taking the order and then preparing the food. So we all had to communicate together. So they had to let us know when the order was made, and we saw it on the screen. And they had to do their role, and we had to do our role, which is preparing the food and getting the food ready for the client. And so teamwork was a vital part in McDonald's. And through teamwork, there were systems that I learned also. Communication was another role that was another thing that I learned, especially in McDonald's, because some days I didn't make it to work. And so I had to know how to communicate with my supervisor. I had to be responsible. I also had to communicate when orders were running a little slow. If I was late, putting the meat on the grill or so, I had to let them know, it's going to take 5 minutes. So you had to be really engaged with it. You have to communicate. Also, when it comes down to issues, if I had, I was really big in tennis when I was in high school.
And so, very good.
Yeah, very good. I love tennis, guys. And so whenever I had a match, I had to communicate and pretty much coordinate another time with my either supervisor or another helper. So I had to really communicate. And so it taught me the importance of communication. And not all, as you learn communication, there's different ways people receive it. And so you have to kind of be aware of how you communicate with others. So teamwork, communication, and time management. Time management was so important. We worked in a quick service restaurant. And so you couldn't prepare the Big Mac 10 minutes later.
Oh no.
So you had to pretty much kind of be really, really on time. They wanted these orders out less than 2 to 3 minutes. So you had to really kind of push it. And so time management was a key. And so those were some great things that I learned at McDonald's. There were some not so great things as well that I probably would share later. But I want to hear from you. Like, what are some things that you probably think that you could have learned or you didn't learn too well at Chick-Fil-A?
Man, I think that one thing that I wish I could have learned at Chick-fil-A that I probably was not taught, probably not taught as in depth was, I think early on, yes, the opportunities were there to go through and grow. Right. But initially it didn't appear to that. It didn't appear to seem like we had an opportunity. It felt like, and like most jobs, it felt like, okay, I was hired here to go through and actually do just this one job. But I'll never forget, and that's why I think management is so key, because this was a brand new store. Like all the managers were first time managers at this store. But I think once we got our footing, the owners really took the ownership role and the leadership role to go through and actually expose team members to go through and not just put it on the managers, because the managers may have seen that, okay, well, this is my position, right, and there's no other growth. Like, you're not going to come get my position. And so, but the owner really kind of started putting us in a predicament to go through and actually realize that you may start off as the person that's flipping the chicken or preparing the chicken, but you can go through and actually be a team leader, a manager, a general manager, or operate if you want to. So I think that's one thing that I learned is very important as owners and as entrepreneurs and as leaders and managers in the organization, to set the tone up front, because you never know what talent you may have on your team. Right. And you never know how that person, what will impact them, because I stood in and I kept going until the owner stepped up and said, okay, well, this is the opportunities that we have. But some people, they may have looked at it as like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. And so I think that's one thing I learned as well. Growth. Yeah. One thing I learned is to be up front with the career path path up front instead of just letting the person get on the job for a year and letting them figure out that, oh, we have a career path.
I know we mentioned earlier, when we were talking about, our different experiences in college, in high schools with our jobs, that, Chick-fil-A, they motivated you, they gave you books to read. Mm-hmm. We didn't get that at McDonald's. Mm-hmm. We didn't get a lot of support like that, like, going trips and giving you incentives. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I think that McDonald's, when I was working, my experience, I wish we had more of. Mm-hmm. So the incentives, the rewards, the appreciation, and then motivating us and stimulating us other than just work, like giving us a book to read for self-development for ourselves. I think that's so important. And I think that that's something that we have learned and we value now, and we take that into every organization and business that we are a part of.
And I think, Caleb, that exposure is so important. And I think getting the bulls by the horn up front, because that's how you go through and develop leaders. And one thing that I saw within the organization, especially I was with the organization from high school up into college until I joined the military, and had several positions from entry level, such as a food preparer to working in general management at multiple stores in the Atlanta area. Right. And so, but one thing I saw was the eagerness to expose the team members to something great. Again, getting around the owners or founders of the core or the organization, or also reading the books, also going through and actually just different trainings. Those are the type of things that I feel that really kind of changed my trajectory. And I didn't look at it as just a quick service restaurant or a fast food restaurant. I looked at it as being a part of a team, going towards the mission of Chick-fil-A, Prime Care. With Prime Care is going to be on Chick-fil-A's level very soon as well.
You can count on it.
But I saw the mission being fulfilled, and that was back in the early 2000s, like 2000 to be exact, maybe 2000, 1999, somewhere in that area.
Wow.
But now into we're 2021, where Chick-fil-A has gone within the last 20 years. It's mind-boggling, man. But I'm not surprised because the foundation was actually set.
Wow, that's amazing. The foundation is important. Well, let's talk about some things that we incorporated from our high school jobs into our business today. I can start off by saying I remember when I was at McDonald's. I keep on saying Prime Care, but I remember I was at McDonald's, and McDonald's, we used to wear our black pants, our black khakis, and our it was like a fuchsia reddish purplish color McDonald's shirt. And so I used to wear this so pride, full of pride, proudful. And so I loved the uniform. Everyone had the same uniform. We were a team. We were this synergy, and everybody, we all took pride in our uniform. And so one thing that I incorporated in with Prime Care is when we initially started our home care company, I wanted to make sure that we look different from other home care companies. Yes. And so most other home care companies, they wore pretty much scrubs. And so they would have their caregivers or their nurses to go out there and pick some scrubs out and just go to work. We at Prime Care, we took another step. We say, we're going to come in khaki pants and polo collar shirts. And so we did that, and we set ourselves apart from the competition. And so that's one thing that I learned, the importance of feeling together. And, a uniform makes you feel a part of a team. Yes. And so that's one thing we incorporated with my experience from McDonald's.
Yeah. And
what's another thing that for you?
I think one thing that, and as you were talking about uniform, I kind of thought about the Chick-fil-A cow, because what does the cow have to do with the chicken sandwich? And that's something that Chick-fil-A utilized as a brand to go through and stand out amongst the other chicken restaurants. And it got people to talking. Right. And that kind of leads me to one thing that we incorporate within our organization is Chick-fil-A, their reward system, just like I said, like they had a reward system. I'll never forget about this. We were in this contest. I think it was called the Chick-fil-A Cup. And we had to go through and actually, it was a sales type contest where we were competing against other Chick-fil-A stores to go through and actually reach a certain level, which I can't remember. But we had to go through and do suggestive selling, which was upselling. Hey, would you like to have a large fry and a large drink with your order? Wow. And that's what the corporate office was counting. And we scored very high, and our restaurant actually won an opportunity to go to meet the founder of Chick-fil-A, Truett Cathy, and his family. But one thing I realized that was a huge reward. It allowed us to work towards something. We got a chance to meet them. We got a chance to have lunch with them at the Atlanta Motor Motor Speedway. They gave us a little medallion or baton just in commemorating our win. And also
the medallion that you had.
Yes, man. Yes. And also we got a chance to get a Chick-fil-A calendar that had like the free food throughout the year. Those are things that we were proud to go through and actually work towards that. And I think those are the things that we actually incorporate within Prime Care, as well as opportunity for awards and recognition as well, because that's one thing that's very crucial to keeping a culture really great as well.
I know one thing that we incorporate, which I love, is because it's all about teamwork and keeping everyone unified. We incorporate at Prime Care a weekly administrative meeting. So all of the administrative staff from all the offices, where they connect via Zoom or Google Meet, we all meet together on Wednesday and to discuss revisions, celebrate birthdays, updates and policies. We all come together, and so that's important. I think keeping the line of communication open when it comes down to our team members and our colleagues is so important. And that's one thing that we both thought from each of our teams. Either we did get it or we did not receive it from our job experiences, but we know the importance of keeping the line of communication and working together in synergy. So I think that's important.
Kayla, I think this episode has been, it's been very nostalgic, just kind of walking down memory lane and just kind of reflecting on some of the things that we learned through our experiences of working our high school jobs. And we want to encourage you to go through and actually walk down, take a road trip down memory lane and think about that high school job. Some of you may have to think a little hard because it's been a few years ago, but some of you may have to think yesterday, but think about your high school job and go through and think about some of the pros and the cons, and think about the things that you could go through and actually utilize in your life, whether you're a business owner, whether you're working for an organization, whether you're raising a family. Think about the things that you learned throughout the process and how you can incorporate some of those things that will make your life a little bit better on today. And I think that, Caleb, if we just take a moment if everyone takes a moment to go through and do that, man, I first they're going to probably have a lot of laughters, a lot of fun memories, and a lot of things that we can go through and use to just put us on a pathway of success, man.
Exactly. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Homecare Guyz podcast. We love for you if you can like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as our podcast on Spotify, and definitely leave a 5-star review if you can. If you have gained anything from this episode, definitely go in there, do us a huge favor, and leave a 5-star review. Well, until next time, we hope you enjoyed us, and remember to continue to watch us and listen to our podcast, and have a great day.
Have a great one.